Today's video was a very difficult video to make. Not because of some controversy, or some new drama, or anything bad like that. No, it's because every single enemy is being defeated too fast. Seriously, this team is arguably the best team in the game currently. And best, or worst of all, is this team is incredibly fun. I am of course talking about the Tremor Scorch team. But this isn't about the team as a whole. I've already made that video previously, feel free to check it out, link in the description. It's about the Dawn Office. And as a certified Philip enjoyer, I love the incredible buff they gave him, and more on this in a moment. Before anything else, I have a statement to make right now that we have to talk about. The Dawn Office duo of Greor and Faust are too good. I know. It sounds ludicrous to say. I want to ask you a question first. Are you familiar with the phrase legacy support? It's a very common Yu-Gi-Oh term, and by extension TCG term, where you give support to something that released much earlier in a game's lifespan. In fact, we already have some examples of it in-game currently. The Shadow-Vested Bladesinger Ego for Kimsalt, or even more recently, the new Som Lament Ego, the Som Lament Yisang. And those are fairly balanced precisely because they're locked behind a character. So why bring this up? Because what happens when you take something powerful and take away what makes it so balanced? You get the Dawn Office. I know I'm talking a lot about it, but words don't do it justice. I think they would have been phenomenal units if they had their passives that support Dawnclair alone. But they do so much more than that, it's crazy. This isn't going to be a kit review or anything like that. Or at least it shouldn't. Unless it already is? Either way, we still have to talk about him. So let's start with the big one. Greor. I don't know what else this unit could possibly do. He already does so much. Light of Daybreak making him apply more burn potency and count depending on stacks accumulated. On top of granting him extra coins in his skill 1 and 2. This is good for increasing his burn infliction in case that wasn't obvious. And how does this tie back to Sinclair? Well, when he's on the field, those extra coins deal extra wrath damage equal to burn on enemy. And in case it wasn't obvious, this is a burn team. So how easy is it to gain Light of Daybreak? Very. You get it from hitting an enemy with burn, and you'll never guess what team he is amazing in. But before we move on, I have to mention the counter. It gives 5 Light of Daybreak stacks and an assist defense, which also grants 5 stacks. It can also become his S2 free at 30 stacks, and this is the same for Faust, but more on her in a moment. So let's talk about his Crack of Dawn skill. This skill is everything you could want it to be. Over the course of the fight, Greor will inflict himself with burn. Crack of Dawn gains coin power based on this, and then he uses all of it to heal himself up to 30% HP and give every ally Dawn Herald. That's right, every ally, not just Dawn Office. This buff gives a 10% damage buff to skills that inflict burn potency, count, or unique burn, and extra damage if it's a Wrath skill being used. Oh, and you gain clash power. However, Dawn Office units gain base power instead. We'll circle back to this in a moment because now it's Faust's turn. She plays somewhat very similar to Greor. She takes less damage from burn for a start. She wants to gain Fire Butterfly coin, and just like Greor at 20 plus stacks, she gains various buffs to her skills, and she can reuse her skills' final coins to help with her burn infliction. However, unlike Greor, she gains a set amount of what I'm just going to call Coffin because it's becoming quite a mouthful for me. And that set amount is on use before gaining more from her skills. And this does include reused coins. And yes, it is up to a max of 20 stacks per turn. Now this is where she differs. She has 2 separate uses for having 30 stacks of Coffin. It grants her a skill 3 2 and defense 2. And I think this is why she ramps up much faster than Greor, to give you more versatility in battle. Her S3 2 can inflict power down, but it doesn't consume coffin stacks. Her defense 2, however, consumes all burn to heal up to 50% HP, grants her 3 stacks of Battle Instinct compared to her S32 only giving 1, and just does a shit ton of damage. Speaking of Battle Instincts, a quick rundown is simply a damage boost for her S3, S32 and Defense 2. Base skills inflict more burn potency and count, and raises her min-max speed. Oh, and it grants more stacks of coffin at combat start. Fun! Sadly, you won't be able to use S32 and Defense 2 in the same turn, as overheated coffin prevents this from happening. Quite shockingly is that this is the only quality control in either character kit. Did I even mention the 3 follow-up attacks from a Dawn Claire Blazing Strike?
칼날 사출.
나를 비추는 주홍빛이 꺼지지 않도록 거세게 휘몰아쳐라.
잘했습니다. 보충하죠.
So, why mention all of this? Because this is just to give you a glimpse into how broken they are. I'm not saying this is a way to entice you to spend money. No, I'm saying this because they could have simply released them as somewhat underpowered units with the sole purpose of buffing Sinclair. Instead, they are arguably better than the ID they're meant to support. Sinclair has a few flaws holding him back. The main one being his SP. Every turn that would pass as he was in his volatile ego state, he'd gain 1 stack of volatile passion, causing Sinclair to lose more SP as turns go by. You know, the thing keeping him in his powered up state? In fact, his own skills would actively work against him. Specifically S2 and S32 that consume SP on use, and also skill 1 needs to hit heads to reuse the coin. And you probably guessed that you need SP to have a higher chance to roll heads. See where I'm going there? And this leads us to Faust and Greor. Look, you know me, I hate reading, and there's a lot of words here. All you need to really know is his SP issues are somewhat solved, at least his self-inflicted SP issues. Now he can no longer go below 25 SP due to his own kit, thanks to Greor. As for Faust, well, she gave him access to a lot more damage potential. Look, I'm going to plug Jex and Pierre's video on it because they are a lot more detailed and knowledgeable than I am. And hopefully I said the name right. The long and short of it is, Sinclair finally feels like a complete character. And I love how they handled this. Rather than a full rework or releasing a brand new Philip ID entirely, they took a look at what was wrong, looked at the vast roster of unused characters that are in Limbus Company. Yes, Project Moon has more games than Limbus Company, stop being a LARPer, and went, hey, I got an idea. But before all this, it's better if I just show them in action. The problem is, as I stated before, things die too quickly. So here are my final thoughts. They're fantastic units. They have fast rotations, good burn infliction with Tremor on the side, and they buff up Dawnglare. They give the Tremor Scorch team an excellent stack of burn. But this team is reliant on having the thumb IDs. If you don't have them, I'd recommend investing in them ASAP. And now that I think about it, I am a little worried about the future design of support IDs. Again, I know it sounds like a weird thing to complain about, and I'd argue it isn't a complaint at all. But what does it mean when the support IDs are better than the ID they're meant to support? I know that's subjective and you might think differently, and that's okay. Let me know why that is, because I'm curious how the Dawn Office is being received by other players. Well, with all that said, this is the end of the video. I am now legally required by YouTube to say, don't forget to please subscribe as it helps out the channel. But I know you subbed the moment you heard I was a Philip Glazer. And with that last joke done, this is the end of the video. Take care, I hope you enjoyed yourself, and like always, stay refreshing.